Hello, welcome to this special episode on the FMS and Offside Laughs. So, with a lot of coaches and a lot of teams in for managers in the summer, we are asking which is the hardest managerial job in football right now. There are a lot of teams that demand a lot from their coaches, so we are going to analyze that plus other things in the world football currently. I have here Albert and Lakum. My name is Prince. Thanks for watching. And also, thanks for joining us on the show today. Guys, you're welcome once again. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, Charlie.
How are you
Good
guys
to see
doing?
you too.
Everything good.
Yeah.
Like,
Doing
weekend
good.
is
Great.
just starting.
Yeah.
We are entering the final lap of February. It's like the year is, as a contem,
Especially this week. I mean, just yesterday it was
it was Monday.
Today's Friday.
Yeah, we are in shorter days, longer nights. Yeah, so I don't know. We're gonna talk about managerial jobs in world football now. We've seen a lot of changes, at least for the start of this year 2026. On the first week, Maresca left Chelsea. Amorim also lost a job at Man United, and they are,
Zabi Alonso.
of course, Alonso also left Real Madrid. At
Thomas
least
Frank.
the last 2 weeks, we've seen Thomas Frank leave Tottenham. Marseille has also sacked De Zerbi. A lot of coaches. Nottingham Forest, they sacked Sondijk. So, a lot of managers are losing their jobs. So, we're going to analyze these clubs and where the managers have the hardest job to do. So, is it the top clubs or the lower clubs? Which of them is very difficult to handle or to do a job over there? And I don't know where you think we can start from.
Okay, Reason, Charlie.
But at the end of the podcast, I'll ask you guys your top 3 hardest clubs to coach. I'll ask that.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go.
Alright, so I'm asking me which category of clubs are difficult to handle as a coach. I think I'm going for the top clubs. Why? What are the expectations and ambitions of that particular club? Except few top clubs that their ambitions are not at the top level, and therefore they will always give the manager excess time. Someone is coaching a team like Real Madrid, a team like Barcelona, a team like Chelsea, a team like Liverpool, a team like Manchester United, Manchester City, Barcelona. Always, these are clubs who want to win a trophy at the end of every season. Especially if you are coaching in the English Premier League. You compete for 3 titles in a season. They have 5 clubs that can win those 3 trophies. Supposing you are coaching this club, and especially Manchester United, and the performance has not been consistent, has not been good for 2 consecutive seasons, automatically it invites certain pressure on you, irrespective of the materials you have in the team. So Eric Ten Hag came in. Even Eric Ten Hag, in his first season, was able to win the FA Cup for Manchester United. The following season, he won the EFL Cup for them. But subsequently, he struggled that season. No one talked about the previous trophies he has won for the club. Then, no, he's a bad coach. People started criticizing him. His tactics are whack. He doesn't know what he's doing. He should be fired. No one talked about what Eric Ten Hag has done for Manchester United. How he has improved certain players in the team. Because under this same coach you are talking about, he gave Marcus Rashford one of his best seasons in his career as Manchester United. Scoring over 30 goals that season. He made people believe that season Thiago Dalot was one of Manchester United's best players. But no one talked about Thiago Dalot. Look at some players he gave the opportunity, like Kobe Menu. You understand what he did? But because after 2 seasons, he was not able to replicate what he did the first 2 seasons, people forgot about what he achieved. Another example, Barcelona. They brought in Xavi. Before Xavi, Ronald Koeman was struggling with the club. The club, I always describe it as a sinking ship. So they needed a captain to rescue the club. They brought in Xavi with a little or with a lower budget. Xavi came, took the team from 7th position to 2nd position on the table. He qualified Barcelona to play the Spanish Super Cup Something they didn't believe that under Ronald Koeman that season, after 11 matches, they didn't believe that they could qualify for, because it's between the first and second team and then the finalists in the Copa del Rey. Xavi qualified Barcelona. The following season, he won the trophy. He qualified Barcelona to the previous season and won the league as well. And I always say that season, that league Barcelona won at that time was the resurrection moment of the club. If Barcelona did not win that trophy, the situation would have been worse.
Because where do you go from there after spending, a lot of
Activating
money?
levers
Yes, to sign
to
big
sign
players.
players, and we were not able to win trophies at that time. So that trophies that we managed to win was the resurrection moment of the club. But after that season, Xavi went trophyless. No one considered the struggles Barcelona went through with injuries, with players dipping in form. Example, Lewandowski. Iko Gundogan came in. I always say Iko Gundogan was one of the players that caused Xavi sack in the team because he was underperforming, honestly. But no one was talking about him. Frankie de Jong, Robert Lewandowski, even Rafinha. People at that season, Rafinha, it was at the later part of the season that Rafinha started picking up. Pedri was injured throughout the season. You come 3 matches, you get injured again. After that, no one thought about what Xavi has already done for the club, rescuing the club when they were in dire need of someone to rescue the club. They fired him. Real Madrid. After Zidane left, they needed someone with experience to bring hope to the club, because after Ronaldo left, no one believed that Real Madrid would be able to come and dominate Europe like they used to do with Ronaldo, Benzema, and Gareth Bale. Zidane came in his second time, he was not able to do it. So Zidane left. They brought a certain Carlo Ancelotti. He came in and he won 2 Champions League within 3 years for Real Madrid. The following season, a season before, he has won the Champions League against Dortmund. The following season, which was last season, Carlo Ancelotti had a bad season at Real Madrid. And Lacon is one example. They blasted and lambast Carlo Ancelotti. He asked for his firing and they sacked him.
He should leave.
You understand? Chelsea has tried a lot of young coaches. They have tried a lot of coaches. Graham Potter, Mauricio Pochettino, Frank Lampard. They brought a certain Enzo Maresca, who brought something, or who made them achieve something they had not achieved after Thomas Tuchel in the Champions League. He won the Club World Cup for them, won the Conference League for them. When the situation got worse, management felt like he wanted to be more superior. He said, no, we can't work with you. They sacked him. So you see the clubs that I've mentioned, they have something similar. They are ambitious. They want to win. Real Madrid, Manchester United, Barcelona, and Chelsea. So it's very difficult to manage these clubs. But clubs like Arsenal and Liverpool, they might give you time because they've gone years without winning trophies. They've gone a long route. Like Arsenal, since 2005, they had to win a Premier League.
Yeah.
Liverpool went 30 years without winning the Premier League. You understand? So they will bring in a certain Carlo jogging club. He will show signs. They will still believe in him that giving him time and materials, quality, he'll be able to win. So they will give him time because they've gone a longer route without winning the trophy. Arsenal, for instance, they will give Mikel Arteta the years that he wants. He'll be struggling, but they'll still give him time. Unlike the lower clubs that we're talking about, when the season starts, their aim is to survive relegation. So Brentford, finish 15th, 16th, 13th, they are okay. Tottenham Hotspur, Omo finish 7th, they are okay. Every club has its ambitions and its aim. So it's more difficult and more tough to coach these big clubs with higher ambitions.
I want us to dive briefly into your argument about the club and Liverpool situation, the Arsenal and Mikel Arteta situation, and to the Madrid and probably Alonso, Ancelotti or Zidane. Yeah. And they are at the top already. They are always competing for titles. Yeah. But for Klopp, he had a job to revive a sleeping giant. You get it? Mm-hmm. Even though they are Liverpool, historically they are there, but his job was, I would say, very, very difficult because the club was dead. They didn't believe. He turned them into believers, and that was his first statement he made when he was given the job. So someone can also argue that kind of job is very difficult and the hardest to do than coaching a team that is already winning and taking over, just like Pep Guardiola took over from Bayern. They had won a treble and he took over. He didn't win a Champions League again. If you compare the two, some will, really argue for the club's job at Liverpool. That was the hardest thing to do, isn't it?
Is it? That means you are trying to describe difficulty in two different ways. Now, difficulty.
And that's what we're trying to do. They are all hard or they are all difficult. Which one is the most difficult? You get a point.
The most difficult one is one. It's difficult to bring the best out of players and also facing pressure from those at the helm of affairs.
Like Real Madrid, you have to deal with Florentino Perez.
You are dealing with Florentino Perez. After dealing with Florentino Perez, you come and deal with the players on the pitch, and also deal with the supporters. At Liverpool, that's what initially stated. They were on the ground. They were like they didn't have that hopes. They lost hopes. So they needed someone to revive their hopes in the club, right?
Yeah.
The supporters understood the situation of the club before Jurgen Klopp came. They understood that the Liverpool you are talking about, not the Liverpool of years ago. So they gave him time without pressure. So for that, Jurgen Klopp is not going to face pressure from the supporters and the management because already they believe the standard and the status of the club at that particular point. Like us now. They believe in that. They know that after Arsene Wenger in 2005, they've been struggling. They've tried coaches. They gave Arsene Wenger 6-7 years. He was not able to do the job. They gave Unai Emery time. He was not able to do the job. So we need to give Mikel Arteta time with little pressure on him because he's a young coach. So for him, where his headache is going to be is on how to improve the players and the team to be able to win. Only dealing with the team and the players. Understand the two cases here. But for a club like Barcelona, the example for instance, one, you are going to deal with supporters' expectations. You are going to deal with presidential and political influence in the club.
Yeah.
And you're also going to deal with trophies and financial crisis.
Yeah.
So you are fighting a whole lot of things. Unlike this Jurgen Klopp and Arteta issue you are talking about. The moment the hierarchy agrees, accepts, or the stakeholders accept, or believe that where we are not at the apex or where we used to be. We have accepted the fact. We established that. That means the coach coming in does not have enough pressure. He will get the time he wants to be able to improve the team. And that's why Arteta is still at Arsenal as the coach.
That's right. Let me go to Lacun. You agree that the top teams are the hardest jobs to do?
Yeah, because the difficult team, the difficult thing for, and I said the difficult team for a manager to coach depends on the standard of the team, and mostly the standard of the team depends on the higher the standard is or the lower the standard. That makes the big clubs the most difficult team to win because the money difficult in the standard and the expectation from the standard. So talking about the Jurgen Klopp there, you see, Jurgen Klopp is for Liverpool team, and a Liverpool team, above form. It's now the standard of Liverpool in previous years, wasn't that standard that Jurgen Klopp at way. It's now more say Liverpool team na enim that, and yet Liverpool ni enim no. That 207 Liverpool no. After 207 no, on my perform. It's now standard now Jurgen Klopp at way never form. Into be fire man more time. See, you see a standard is insanity, and the expectation of the standard, and now Jurgen Klopp they back at the time. Because no more expected to win the league. No more expected to win the UEFA Champions League. But FA Cup.
They needed a revival. They needed someone to take them there, and that was the end goal.
Yeah,
take us to that level. Into that, having the idea that I am picking this team from this 0 point, and at the end of my tenure, after 5 years, they should be there. That should be a difficult task alone for you. Unlike the other teams that you come, all you have to do is to make them win. You get my point? They are already in that position. Everything laid down in the club, the finances probably finances are out, but the recruitment is done very well. They have enough players. They have top quality players in every position, and they have to just win. But for Klopp, at that time, he didn't have a well competitive team. You get my point? So he had to create a system for them that will make them
You see,
serious.
most managers say come and say about their failure at a certain big club, was because of the time no money. He said at a point came maximum time and commit management, but because that time they'd be out to the standard of a team now coaching at that point in time, undeserved that chance. And at that time, no. But club the didn't the club na Birmingham be come and say club or by far Liverpool team no obi any say Liverpool no form no na eba be revive no enti be man more time enti even if say at the point or inconsistent you be just to say a team be adun see na e be call enti onya more time no onya much experience obetima ba be adwuma but unlike the other team now almost stand at the point we to na osoro dada ana wo ba be fa enti ye ma time ye ma 1 year na ye hwe na ye on and off ye ma half season come still na performance inconsistent ye be ja kwan mako because we to a standard of a team and na ye high dada and our performance no so enti me leave it to that standard no. It's a different thing. But the reason why I make us say a big team here because of the standard. And most standards now also near big teams, mostly big teams, almost standard now also into be form one and a difficult part because we have that maximum time now. Or better the set here with team. When you say we are in a modernized game where tactical are still for the edge man. And we here this maximum time said be a team no or understand players no understand the philosophy and the team at the point in time will get to know about the philosophy and how be working. And it's the most difficult team for manager to coach in the Real Madrid job. A Real Madrid job. But come about big clubs in they say difficult, but I see the most difficult one at the Real Madrid job.
Why?
And because of the culture and the standard and the expectation of that standard of their moment. And you see, we have seen a lot of managers about Real Madrid or management. Not necessarily say no money good. But maybe the time frame was their problem. And the materials of Mabeto to their standard and to their philosophy was difficult for them. And so the most managers on Real Madrid are mostly tactical astuteness for them. Because philosophy to Real Madrid culture is different. Real Madrid, the culture of the club makes players superior than the manager. In so on my tactical astute. Na so hope say players net was from perspective. No mo go execute the all their mom so mo koy e be difficult because most play because of their egoistic will not understand who manager for philosophy now person the age man. In the more difficult for manager that particular that tactical astute coaches. Into remember the man most coaches are be successful in and managers are they are more man manager aspect think I more tactics no so kakra no man kabum the adwuma enti ehwe the club Real Madrid na manager so ma ba fail Real Madrid na which are how difficult Real Madrid air club to coach as a manager over from.
And speaking of Real Madrid, no, I mean it brings me to the leg of team styles and how it fits into coaching. So for example, you mentioned the Real Madrid team. And these days modern football teams prefer coaches that come and just teach the team how they should play, just limited to coaching and make it work on the field of play. That's your job. You be the head coach and make sure that you have power over what you do on the field of play. But as Real Madrid, it's quite different.
Yeah.
You have to manage not just the team, but the egos in the dressing room. You have to manage Florentino Perez, the politics around it. You have to be sort of an ambassador for the club, represent what the club means. So I understand that in that situation, that area, it is very, very difficult, and you need more than to be a coach to be in that situation. So it's really hard, really, really hard. I want us to also look at the national teams bit. So let's say a team like Brazil. The last time they won the World Cup, 2002. Now Ancelotti is in a dugout. It looks like it's very difficult for them to win, and even harder now to win the World Cup, because in the past the Brazilian players didn't. They were a bit sorted in some way, and all they wanted to do was for Brazil. But these days, they're figuring out how to settle elsewhere in Europe and make a living for themselves. The Brazilian country is not even creating enough system to keep their own players. The last proper star that played for a long time in Brazil was Neymar, and since then they are all leaving, and so it makes leading Brazil to win a World Cup very difficult. You get my point. And another example is England. Thomas Tuchel. England wants to win the league, wants to win the World Cup. They've tried their own, and if it hasn't worked, but they give it to a certain Thomas Tuchel who's not had any national team experience. So I want us to also talk about the national teams. The dynamics of it. You're coaching Brazil. You need to win. You need to win the World Cup. And you're coaching other big teams like probably Germany, Spain. And then in the case of Otuado, he's taking Ghana to the World Cup. We want to make at least an impression that we are one of the best teams in the world. In these two scenarios, I want us to also talk about how hard it is to coach the big teams over there, and then the other teams that are also there to compete at the World Cup.
You see, the national team now will depend on the standard of a certain nation in football. Talking about the Brazil, depends on their standard or set on previous years. That is why we win the World Cup 5 times. And at the point, I'm a drought of not winning the World Cup. And even Copa, it's difficult for them. So because of how Argentina, how we good one win this kind of trophies. Until we are manager now find ourselves in this kind of situation. Now, the people of Brazil here, the World Cup to compete well. Yeah. Because at the point, team competing for the World Cup at a point in time. World Cup now, they are the team to tip say they are going to win the World Cup. But cut teams to win the World Cup. But first be more Brazil because of their previous performance. Until we manager now about for this Brazil team now. The standard that I want to say, but see win the World Cup the expectation is a World Cup if you could win. And it's a one friend one could win here. You best cycle. Into what many years are. Yes, I come more Brazil now because on one team leave it to the expectation in terms of the results and Brazil for here in certain competitions. Into your best cycle, you know, be the standard so. Into the standard for managers, if I know more in this international tournament or more national teams, difficult when team now go for high standard in terms of the tournament. I be a in Brazil almost standard of World Cup and other trophies. You can talk about England. The last time England winning a major trophy, penimra and we a manager. Now before this England team, the expectation is that when we win a major trophy for us. In the about Gary Southgate, what about finals? What about semi-finals? But he has Canadians because the expectation the England people here for the England national team a major trophy. In as much as will give you a good performance, I could pay more final. The trophy. And say at the end of the day, one for trophy now, man. You want to say, well, you man, I want to leave it to the standard now you expect from you. And the best cycle. Unlike the other nations, say Croatia and a manager perform the course semi-final. To the standard of Croatia, manager na leave. In the can man baby because you want to say a standard you do semi-final. I'm not there be doing. It will leave it to the building. But over for Brazil, over for England. At a point in time, over for France, how am I leaving now? We did the China don't could do semi-finals. Because you're going to be the true final order. And 12 young could do to our standard and set of my previous seasons. Actually, it's a bit magic. I don't 12 young could you a fellow. Ghana semi again. The reason why I bought Otuado, China, because one fan qualify AFCON. Ghana ni bien me say walk up here ko Ghana yen duru be because your standard na ebrebe ko be walk up go do quarter final yes standard na ewom enti we manager na be fa Ghana na wo dey qualify AFCON na the point we dey ko do semi final of AFCON na so dey qualify the World Cup ebo group stage tra group stages what leave it to obele no obi aba special for adwuma na ma long term obetima ye bibi because of the aba recently but Yekomao this Senegal team as a manager. The one team for man go play more AFCON semi-final po. That's one team for man qualify World Cup. Why they? What fail? What leave it to the expectation? Because before you man no dropping. It's any be standard no so. The standard that team no leave any manager now but the expectation from you because of the standard now at the point of set yam no. Timon say the difficult of a national team to coach ni nyina be the standard of that national team now ba be fa no. Because they did the sham the France about be. Me say manager be fa. Not the France in 2 occasions for the World Cup etra edru round of 16 film na na so ko do quarter final no film me so better na hono. Ye be saka because they did the sham about 2 World Cup finals. Into ba standard ni bi either so be gia na so be do final ho bi. Brazil on match World Cup na 5. Any World Cup no team do semi-finals nkwa impo. Enti we manager in Carlo Ancelotti na World Cup be boy. One team for Brazil and do semi-final. Ye be sackle because one believe it to expectation here do ba se be no. Tiana ni na will relies on the standard of that national team na akwa for like Ghana say manager be for no team dey do World Cup be ko quarter finals. Well leave it to expectation papa because ye standard no do World Cup quarter final because of your previous results in this kind of competitions.
You do
order. You do 2010 and they were in 15 years.
So we can aim to go back to
15 years about World Cup and say 3 no day. You film group stages. But group stages in one. Group stages.
And you say
and so we do quarter finals. Why you man na onye?
Why?
That is it. But unlike the other team is all for them do quarter finals. Unye who? You be sack one more fee. And the age and the standard of team now go for at a point in time. No? Yeah.
That's right. Albert.
Yeah, I think I agree with Lago when it comes to team non country now coach, you know. Their record, what they are expecting from the coach. And with that, better may explain in 2 folds. It's difficult to coach a national team club. Yes, it's difficult to coach a national team club. Why? Because national team when say the club team are who coach, yeah, always you have the players at camp, be training, you be having that conversation, that connection with them.
Yeah.
National team, they just come to the national team camp when there is a match to play. It's tactically, coaches struggle very much to get the players play to their style and ideas. That is why you need experienced coaches. There are certain coaches, they can coach national teams. Not every coach can coach a national team. Obviously, Pep Guardiola can coach the Spanish national team. Pep Guardiola will struggle in the national team.
Pep Guardiola.
Yes, because do you know why?
The greatest manager.
Yes. Do you know why? Look at how Pep Guardiola coach. He always wants the players to play how he wants them to play.
Man, but he can do that with the national team.
The national team. Because of how I move on.
For the national team, players never camper. If not for a longer tournament like the World Cup or the Nations League. Remember club friendly qualifiers. 2 days, we match. Remember match 2 days we are. The next day, 2 days, now we match. We are African, so it will be difficult for the players to play like how Pep Guardiola wants coaches to play. I'm not saying he can't coach the national team, but that will be difficult because unless Obe adapts it, and now say he will purposely or directly call players who will feel like they can play his system. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And see, for the national team, it's very difficult to coach based on the club's or the country's expectations, and also how coaches find it difficult to have a long period with the players to train.
Sorry, on the Spanish thing, I see it a different way because Spain have similar
style of
like
same as Pep Guardiola.
And even if you take that one out, he's with like club football. Every week you are preparing for a game, and it's not as if because they have time with them they're able to implement what they want to do. It doesn't always happen as that. They are preparing for game almost every 3 days. So when do you have that time to do it? Pre-season, yes, you can do that. But national team, you have time to stay back, watch your players, look at their strengths, what they are doing at club level, whether they are changing their positions, are they trying something new? You can even study your opponent ahead of time and create a plan for your team headed into a World Cup or a tournament.
The reason why I'll agree with Albert is because you see, national team they be a squad necessary. At the point player be from more number. okwa on sanfa form ni bio also free nipa wofro.
That's why you should have your core.
Unya stable squad.
That's why you should have your core of players.
But you see a national team, everybody is entitled to play some because of your form at a point in time, not necessarily about your preference. Instead at the point in time, obi oko national teams bo ma and ye bo ho edi England Elliot Anderson.
But
and you bond because of the performance
but
now.
There was still there are players like what's his
Bellingham
name?
and Declan Rice.
Bellingham, Declan Rice.
I play Manchester City player no bully so called Manchester City. Calvin Phillips. He was a starter England national team.
Jordan Pickford is still their number one.
Calvin Phillips, he was starter with England national team. But of course City and form dey pain. Ya friend bi o. Team ni nyawo dey abeto asase ato se da bia na mebo. O form ni gina so dey fro. Until at the point in time, ye can't spin national team goalkeeper in the other national team. What they say about Bilbao? Yeah, cause on because the performance in ye go for Barcelona keeper nemra because of performance. But ye can't go consistently for Spain or tournament.
Oh no, you
nice more. But ye cause the performance and once you that World Cup ni ye. Intiana and also one situation and coaches find it difficult in order for their tactics to perfectly players and be attacked because they be some players.
With this Pep issue I mentioned, Pep is one coach. Always he want to try new thing.
It could be fail time.
You're trying because teams are finding
solutions
to what
to
you do.
Good. So what if national teams also find antidote to what you are trying to bring?
But
you have to try new things. You see, football is evolving. No matter what, the tactical aspect of the game will dominate football in the next 3 years.
3, 5
It's already
years, 10 years.
Isn't this the major discussion?
You see, the tactical. You see, that's why the last time I told Clarkum that it's either Fiorentino Perez will try to adjust to the modern game or he leaves Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Now, on Jaisa, the coaches now, players now go for Banner or the coach be a good manager, but say on coach. It will get to a point. Obi the book more 11 ba be chef coach.
And I say easy.
Like
book 11. Sometimes we go for the book 11
more dominant. And see, if coaches, because now look at the coaching squad. I saw a post from Asarubado this morning. One club in United States, coaching staff, they are 20s BB.
One club,
their coaching staff, they are more than 20.
20,
Everybody,
20 grade, I think it's normal.
even at USO.
Okay.
And see, everybody is assigned to perform a specific task. Purely tactics. And the Pep Guardiola always want to learn and unlearn and relearn. And see, Obenya that luxury of time to implement what he's thinking with the players and now.
So have you thought about this? Why Hansi Flick didn't succeed at the German national team after being appointed as the head coach? Why? Because enya na ba betre on san na mesesan we na mesesan we. Anyway, the experience into the abete can I agree with him no. National team mostly coaches no winning na the experience. And at a point and you be an tactics on national team. And you be an tactics. And he did it tactically. Was he good than Hansi Flick? There be, but our experience and how to manage the players in this kind of tournament in World Cup na for. And at the point you see France knowing how to suffer.
Yeah.
And at the point they be clinical. So many chance now. That is what is needed in this tournament in international football. And yet there be an tactics and a way fan junior Nagelsmann suffer no. Because tactics is going to be new no. And it took off a place be office tactically or more or better fit to stand on bar. It will be a experience. And to go for Angelo still a bit now says also a good or fit or tactics. But it will be on a big teams in but any experience in here. Yet the experience never be at a point in time. Yet there be an tactics no. And in as much as we tactical good no. In this international tournament, and a couple of national team, yet the Ben also a tactics. Sometimes know how to manage with players no, and know how to manage a situation. Do tournament in him. And at the point in time, Blaster, the entire film against Uruguayans, you know how to manage. Because at the point in time, he had just a draw. And over against Uruguay, also a threat. And then also manage the game well. Yeah. And so be here manager, experienced manager. It's the man for Pinas will try new console because in terms of the experience in this tournament, over for Blaster, on Timmy Yajumano. And the time sided with Albert and the answer my side, the work be a magician to make it. Because national team no come on ID and you the be an tactics. Sometimes who hear experience, knowing how to suffer and knowing when to be critical at the point in time of tournament.
For the first time on this podcast.
I think yet may agree.
And I'm agree on.
But no, come out with disagree. So I say disagree with Jason Club. The boss disagree.
You guys are funny. Okay, so guys, so it's been a nice conversation. My last question, I mean, again, was the top three teams that are hard to coach right now in world football.
In world football.
Yes, the top three teams. Hardest ones here.
Hardest one. Real Madrid first, Manchester United second, Chelsea third. Yeah.
Can you give us
the reason why?
Here?
I think that Real Madrid hasn't made him come over first one. Manchester United, you see, after Sir Alex Ferguson, club now find it difficult to cope with their standard norm setting more under Sir Alex Ferguson. Into the Biameka say me. Sir Alex Ferguson era, na my friend $3 era for Manchester United. But after years it no, or $1 because how many years beyond board ma no mama feel on and it's because of the club philosophy now. And with the kind of managers and as owners say near or more for Manchester United. Because now, more junior is sick aspect. Into the be a thing come about revenue generated from teams that be a Manchester United into the conversation. But in terms of trophies, now no more. Oh my God, because on my gender about getting that revenue from the team, not about a performance. Into we a manager now about near the resources I must say for your Juma, now be complaining about the resources 17 for your Juma. You will go. Because in a smart so they will feel over pay materials and you see can expecting as a honest. And that is what we need. And so we find this Manchester United setup. In as much as we do philosophy about so be here say team in the budget match trophy. Honest no, almost what agenda a day. It's about money. And so we find team honest agenda about money, not about trophies. Now fans now so when no the scanning no munya bin to mo pay results in no. They be out stadium one now my bad performance. Backlash, so they will not take into consideration of the materials also here at the point in time. So you better Ruben Amorim there and say at the point no here materials be. Office even never man philosophy na adwuma bet self materials ye to man na no because team fanya adwuma akọ carry na betima adwuma na ye de adwuma na ma no ono so at the point in time obe request for materials ni team fama na obe kwa mo biaba and we manager now find in this kind of situation at Manchester United for owners na dia bana it will be difficult for you to coach and to Chelsea sense Enzo Maresca was sacked not purposely because of say Rebecca said and more form in terms of performance he was there. But because of maybe a club not headed towards, and until a man disagree with them because of the materials now, and the expectation from the materials. Enzo Maresca who say with this kind of materials and your expectation mean to me leave it because until me found crown crowing my money experience, also me compete the Premier League and the UEFA Champions League. It will be difficult for me. And in order for me say me tarnish me image with the bad performance, maybe a years to come, na juma be I say me nyanity. Me je juma to amako. And Liam was in abefa. And they are born about because of the performance. But a true baby not just for expected the kind of expectation and normal expected from Enzo Maresca in terms of the UEFA Champions League competition and the league no and farmer. And since Saba. And Obesa say complain about the materials now, obe here the SL juma na mo pe no. That is the Chelsea aspect about the expectation and the materials now a one for that expectation now. Managers for who say it's difficult for them to read that expectation now. This materials also the draw on.
Nice. Albert, finish it with that for us.
I think the most difficult for now, right?
Yeah.
The most difficult clubs, top 3 difficult clubs to coach as it stands now. I'll go for Real Madrid, yep. I'll go for Barcelona and I'll go for Manchester United. If I was to add another, then I'll add Chelsea. Real Madrid because they've reached a certain standard, a certain level, they always want to replicate what they've done previously. So you come 2 seasons, you've not won the Champions League. There will be pressure. You come and not able to manage the players because of a certain man up there. There will be pressure on you and you'll be fired. Barcelona because one, they have similar expectations to Real Madrid with a lower budget. You understand?
Yeah.
So when you're having a conversation about the coach, you are not considering the limited amount of money he has spent on players. Now you have to figure out the pressure, man. You referee demanded a left-footed centre back in just January transfer. They've started questioning his competence and his high line. So that job is very difficult. Scan the hole. Supporters in super adikesi. How are you going to achieve it?
As a Ukuta incident got iPhone 14.
Now, Manchester United, because one, the team itself, they are failing to understand the current reality of the club. They are still living in dreams. They are still living in history. Past glories. And they have some individuals who were part of the glories they had previously. They are trying to have say in the current team. And they are still reflecting themselves to someone who achieved with the club at a point in time where Manchester United had the best. So right now, Coach Ebba, they are trying to measure him with a certain, say, Alex Ferguson.
Yeah.
Doing that, they are in different era. Legends, Bertrand TV station, Obehun, Postcodes, Rio Ferdinand. They'll be blasting coaches and players.
I'm quite say some of the born on boy na Carraghan's way.
No, I'm talking of the club legends. I'm talking of the club legends. You understand? These Nevils, they will go and sit down. They will blast players, coaches, criticize coaches. And a coach will say. Meanwhile, most of these former players too, they have coaching license, but they can't do the job.
They've had jobs.
Call Valencia.
But this is more going on radio and TV and criticizing others.
It is easier said than done.
Yeah, so as Manchester United, a lot of things complicate the managerial role at Manchester United.
Yeah.
Because one, the management itself, these Glazers, and now the general feel that the Ineos. And they want to do it like how Chelsea are doing their things, but in a wrong way. You see how Chelsea, but this Manchester United, they will laugh today. They want to buy experienced players in the English Premier League. Coach with different expectations. And the players now with the they have higher ambitions. Including Matheus Cunha, Benjamin Sesko, Abordni, now the Mbuembuba, already Hoyland, Joshua Exhiba. Because you spend a lot of money on these players. At a point in time, your what do you invest in? Say, Charlie, the players that I have signed with the amount of money I've spent on these players, I should be able to win something. Now, my supporters think the pressure about to coach. So I think the Manchester United job is very difficult. But Barcelona and Real Madrid, senior.
Okay. If I'm to give my list, I'll agree with you. I'll go for Man United job. One of the difficult jobs to do, the hardest to do right now in the world of football. Because of where they are now. You've tried a lot of coaches, different types. So walking into such a club, you have a very, very big task to achieve at Man United. Not just to win, but to be consistent, make them a big club, contending club again, build that dynasty that Ferguson left. So it's huge. That job is huge. And I mean, for me, the Arsenal job right now is very difficult. The Arsenal job, the investment they've made, and they are not reaping the results yet. Arteta, the pressure on him to win at least one major trophy. I think that a few managers will look at that job and say that this is easy to do. It's not easy to do that at all. So I think the Arsenal job right now, it's very, very difficult to do. Then I'll add Barcelona. I mean, you mentioned the financial crisis. Hansi Flick is basically, he's just compromising and improvising almost every season, changing players' position, and those players are not even grade A players that he's supposed to be changing their positions. So, I mean, with that expectation also behind him, and I think for him, he's also put himself in a very difficult position because when he walked into the team, he presented himself as someone who didn't want to demand from the board. Xavi was sacked because he was public playing about it that we can't compete with Real Madrid. He mentioned Real Madrid.
Yes.
Because we don't have the money to buy players. The club said, no, you can't say that. They let him off. Flick came in. He said, oh, I'm happy to work with the La Masia boys. They are talented guys, whatever. But he forgot that these guys are not, some of them look like they are world beaters, but they still need some experiences. And that's why I say that he's in a very difficult position. So for me, that is the three hardest jobs in world football right now. Speaking of Barcelona, Charlie, let's talk transfer news. Big news are coming in from Barcelona camp. And in fact, this story was reviewed by a journalist in Argentina, Hugo Balazon. He was reported that Atletico Madrid's forward, Julian Alvarez, will leave the club after the World Cup. He will join Barcelona. We know that Barca have a lot of interest or huge interest in Julian Alvarez since last season. They've been trying to get him, and since this season, they made it public. A lot of players have commented about Alvarez, especially Araujo. He said that Alvarez is one of the best, so he should be playing for Barcelona. And from the camp of Alvarez, and this story coming from an Argentine source means that we have to take it very, very serious. So Hugo Balazon is reporting that talks is swirling about a transfer fee around 70 million euros. The main reason would be that he considers his cycle at Atleti complete and is ready for a team where he can consistently win more titles. We know that there are interest also from Arsenal who want to sign him, and they are offering around 100 million pounds. So Barca, Arsenal contending for Julian Alvarez, but it looks like the player will be leaning towards more Barcelona. Albert, as a Barcelona fan, in fact, the other reports say the deal is around 200 million. Let's go asking for 200 million. But to clarify it, is that the whole deal, including the transfer fee, the agent fee, bonuses, will sum up to 200 million. So there's that amount. Transfer fee is not known yet, but it could amount to 200 million. But for you, is it worth it?
You don't have a 200 million. Who never 200 million? Masa,
no, you're not buying it for 200 million.
Senior, that agent fee.
What if you buy him 70 million?
70 million is at
His transfer fee is 7.
How much they bought him for 75?
His value, Julian Alvarez's value currently in the transfer shouldn't be above 100 million.
It should.
Alvarez more than 100 million.
It should be 100 million.
I think it shouldn't be above. 100 million.
Okay.
It should be 100 million. 200 million. Again, if you won't come by 100 million,
No. The other bonuses. The other bonuses that you may
add-ons, those things, it don't be more than 30 or 40. Julian Alvarez 100 million plus add-ons. It's okay for Julian Alvarez. Ben-moi lui. Ben-moi lui.
Rumors that want to you.
Alvarez Boschero.
Question mark Scanamo.
Boga, listen to what Listen to what Laporta is saying.
Okay.
During Friday's Defense Some El Barca campaign event, Barcelona president Juan Laporta assures supporters that the club is financially set for a big signing this summer. Now just 10 to 40 million euro from La Liga's 1-to-1 fair play rule after tackling over 2 billion in debt. Fans boozed with dreams of Haaland or making Marcus Rashford's loan permanent after 10 goals to 6 assists. Though some record similar teases in past summers without blockbuster moves. So as Barca, those are that cool. So Hans Flick has been speaking. Sorry,
I have this thing that I want to say about all these Julian Alvarez Barcelona rumors. You see, with the profile of Julian Alvarez for this Barcelona setup, it's going to be a very important for Barcelona to get Julian Alvarez. When you know they only a typical number in terms of goals, we rely on. When you say Robert Lewandowski at the point in time, age and and Julian Alvarez profile it be good for Barcelona in terms of more attacking prowess on them. Because nowadays here Casaba Barcelona so more considered, but they are not able to score more than him from Barcelona. Because of their center forwards, some more to the game at the point in time when she goes. So we are talking about the bad performance of Robert Lewandowski and Ferran Torres or many more. And Julian Alvarez profile a good when you say or a scoring machine. And the money then there a poor But you see, but you see, my problem is saying Barcelona issue no, and now about strikers in Kwa. be here chiro kakra.
But we need a striker.
Me busu asem. Be here chiro kakra. Me land ya. Mu here tell me can say enye striker anko a. Mas ma je to me state me kwa chese ma je to. Enye strike tie me be kasem. Enye strikers anko a. At the point in time I chiro coach ni demand. And fish will be here in terms of ring rotation, in terms of squad rotation and all that. But see, spending this huge amount of money, now this Barcelona financial issues, now also spend this kind of huge amount of money for only Julian Alvarez. The other department now here, will you be able to get these qualities now here? That's another question for me.
So how much do you want Barcelona to spend on a striker?
And easy in this caliber of strikers at Barcelona for here, no money also will be amount to 100 million a year. And if you are going to buy we have Adibia economics
scale of preference.
You hear pan and salary resource number. You hear pan in this team and command will be the balance bebrel. And to hear Chile, here, Fifu, here anymore. They say, what was your problem? Who consider anyone who to me say, and what's a balance equation? And you can get a striker.
Okay, so
he will not be amount to that 50 million, 100 million income. Oh,
okay, your opinion. Which striker? Which striker do you recommend?
Many firms is here. Striker be fitted to this Barcelona setup in terms of how Bobo age. Say, can you age and 15 come the memo?
Why?
Lautaro Martinez contract baby a drink beba. Baby a drink beba. Minka sombra.
This is one person I like.
Uncle beba. Who spend the amount of 100?
Not the captain of Inter.
Na make say the contract renew and renew.
At Barcelona tell Lautaro Martinez. Messi personally recommended for Lautaro
Martinez. He extended his contract.
But he extended his contract at Inter Milan and he didn't come.
And you see me can they say new cross. Na me can say obetimamba. You see this now me can say the old factor I mean preaching for Barcelona to go and bought to go and buy him Lautaro because of the age, you know. And so out. Ukrima swa Hurricane on age.
No, you see.
By age
yes, that's what I'm coming to. I think that right now it sometimes it's better to go for those who secured guys. The old guys that can
the proving ones.
No, but
give them three.
But no, the amount of money you didn't cover.
The goals. Who cannot guarantee?
How many goals?
No, I'm not saying. I said Alvarez.
Now you don't Alvarez goals better now.
Yes. No, he cannot. Has he scored more than 20 goals? The
amount of goals are this.
He's not done that.
The amount of goals are.
I see. Alvarez is one guy we know for sure that he's precise. Yes, he can dip in form, and when he's deep in form, you see it clearly.
Yeah.
But when he's in that form to
he
doesn't miss chances. And I'll come to that analysis. But I'm saying that it's better to bet on these guys, the Hurricanes, the Lewandowskis, for at least 3 years.
For 3 years,
and then when they have their last legs, you find another one. I mean, at least for the meantime, so the club will find a player that is very young and they can bet on. Instead of going in to sign a player over 100 million and there's pressure on them. So I think that mode is even better. But Hurricane now, it looks impossible to get him.
Exactly.
So on Alvarez, I don't think that Barca are just signing him because he can give us the goals. Yes, on the goals, he's one of the few players that I see in front of you and they are superb. Their precision in the box. Look at the pass he gave to Ademola Lookman, the last one. He didn't even look at the option on the left.
He's a solid
last season, again in the La Liga. I remember when they beat us 1, was it a 4-4? The 4-4. There was a pass that came to him. The pass was moving away from his right foot. He managed to just put his right foot back like this and clock the ball inside. The guy in the boxes, he's just a beast. And for me, it's not just that. The combination, he can link up with his teammates, his movement. And when I watch Ferran Torres in our team,
and he's scoring goals,
you are missing chances. You can't control the ball for us. You can't control the tempo in the box. He's just lost.
Probability
he doesn't have presence in the box, both air on the ground. Alvarez has that.
Yeah, and you see, I'm not talking about the qualities, and I said the offer for Barcelona.
The risk here is that we are going to, if it happens, they're going to sign a player with a huge amount of money, but they will not be guaranteed at that 20. Maybe
No,
and
but
like
if-
it's
no,
going
but,
to happen. But
no, but looking at Julian Alvarez last season, all the competition he was over 20 goals.
And you see, nobody.
But, I mean, that, from a striker of that amount of money, should be able to score at least 30 goals. If you are going to be signed for 100 million, but you see, look at the number of chances he gets at Atletico Madrid. Ferran Torres, we are talking about at Barcelona right now. He's found a lot of chances, but look at the number of goals he has scored, because he always have a lot of chances to him at the Barcelona team, because they create a lot. So whoever is coming to a team that creates high quality chances in that particular place, I mean, he'll be able to score. He'll be able to score more, because at Manchester City, his numbers were not bad, even though he was playing limited matches.
And you see, I'm not complaining about the kind of performance or the way Barcelona did. We all know Julian Alvarez as a better player in terms of the best of a team like Barcelona. When you say the style of play, the fitted this and flick ball now Bonnie because a deep line forward for Nibia. Born a better man when born a ball. Yes, also a clinical. But me problem about the financial issues that they be didn't come about Barcelona and what are Barcelona for here with team and spending this huge amount of money when you say financial issue on just one player, when you say here multiple players or set up that is okay, Mate. Guys, registration
okay. Barca prepare for elections next month. So Laporta, they mean he's a politician, so we have to be careful.
I don't trust him. Laporta.
We are trust him. Laporta, they be action man.
Laporta.
Be action man.
Laporta be action man.
My action man.
Laporta. The person to promise if he can go make Messi extend in contract.
Oh, but you see that situation, maybe Laporta deceived Messi. But I think that at that moment, he genuinely
he was the right decision for the club.
Wanted Messi to stay. But a part of him knew that it was not right. It was risky, because how are Barca going to survive with a player that his wages are extraordinary? Even though Messi was probably the 50% of Barca's source of revenue, but it was still a risky thing to do for Barca. And I mean, they were blocked by the La Liga's 1-1-1 rule. La Liga just rejected the registration, so there was nothing else to do. So maybe yes, he played his cards to favor him, but I mean, at that moment there was probably nothing he could do instead of La Liga relaxing the rules for Messi to play. Messi, the best player in the league at the moment and in the world at the moment, to allow him to play, and then they will all be win-win situation for both parties. But it didn't happen. Let's look at the games this weekend. In the Premier League, the biggest one is the London Derby, North London Derby. Arsenal Spurs. Arsenal going into a game with a very, very bad spell in their course for the league title. If they don't win this one, for me, I'll close the door on them.
Arsenal need to win the game. They will need to win the game, because coming from a draw against the worst club in the Premier League as it stands now, and that's generated a lot of conversations around. Question Arsenal's ability to win the Premier League, even though they have 2 points lead ahead of them. I mean, they have 5 points as it stands now. The probability that will become 2 if Manchester City are able to win against Newcastle United. But against Tottenham Hotspur, don't forget, Tottenham Hotspur are coming to this game with a new coach.
New manager bounce.
The new manager bounce team we've been talking about. A lot of clubs. So definitely are going to be a thorn in the flesh for Arsenal on the day. But if Arsenal still believe that they would be able to win the league and they want to win the league, then they should just wipe away Tottenham Hotspur. They shouldn't let that new manager bounce or new manager syndrome work. The moment they give Tottenham Hotspur the room to grow confidence, the moment they allow Tottenham Hotspur to build upon what they will start in the first half, it will be difficult for Arsenal. And if Arsenal drop points against Tottenham Hotspur, as you stated, the league is over for them.
The league is over for them.
They will lose everything psychologically and mentally.
City are hosting Newcastle. I've heard people say that, it's football, anything can happen. Newcastle are a tough team. But Charlie,
Still beat them all.
They've never beaten City away from home since 2000.
I don't see Arsenal
The
winning.
Premier League.
I don't see Arsenal winning this encounter.
They're not winning it. Why?
Because you see, checking about their momentum now, because of their recent performance, league him. Now you see pressure na be down because Pep Guardiola do what at the point now if I impono on winning the outstanding there, but definitely be just say Pep Guardiola in this kind of situation on risk no Newcastle because na 2 points. It's now be difficult for Arsenal in this situation. When you say Pep appear up in the game with the squad not doing be shame Emma performance. The most important key player in Ellen brought talent Emma performance not expected there. But we find a way Emma Semenyo she goes no. In the situation and difficult for him, you know. We be finding a solution to it. It's the performance of Pep Guardiola gradually you won't say but or gaining the momentum back. And again the pressure was so and that thing I say Arsenal for team we need trophy no there be o my say you be come marathon o mu huri di kan a yenko we no mabre enu be as be say and all that into pressure no aba be da Mikel Arteta as the coach and the players because the demeanor of the players faces no after that match on boy and against Wolverhampton they just say now o mu lose bibi psychologically and enu be nye effect o so when you say say derby and you see this encounter recently enye match ma Arsenal because of Tottenham performance. Senka Thomas Frank me that's one man and can you say Arsenal be kwa kunya win but you see a new manager syndrome and I go to do abaye that crisis turn around managers for that specialist nibi and you see in situations I had for club no so move battle no at the point in time Udinese was battling for relegation obabeji move free at the point in time last year too after symbolic performance of Mauricio Sarri no obabeji move free at the point in time, Juventus not qualification for the UEFA Champions League require money. And the situation what Tottenham on the perfect manager bit man a solve more. And that solution never say that match of Arsenal bono. And who said I go to do a be prove baby. I just say I'm part or a crisis turn around.
Especially
Arsenal. They are hosting Spurs. Sorry, Spurs are hosting Arsenal at home.
Arsenal is win that match.
But I think, if Arsenal really wants, because if Arsenal loses this game, then people will start to see that, Arsenal are not ready, and people will start to question Mikel Arteta once again.
They already questioned them.
Like people will try to stamp on what they were saying.
You see, people will now understand the reason why people were saying Arsenal and Timini. I will be disappointed in Mikel Arteta.
We'll see on Sunday.
Common second.
We'll see on Sunday. In the other games, City are hosting Newcastle. That's another interesting game. City.
Yes, boy, about that penalty last minute. Yes, boss. It's Pep Guardiola egutano.
Let's look at the other games. Villa are hosting Leeds at home.
Leeds United stubborn.
Leeds United, nice one. Stubborn power.
But Aston Villa.
Double chance Aston Villa.
Chelsea, Burnley.
Chelsea win.
Brentford, Brighton.
But the first leg just were able to beat Burnley.
Yeah, but we win.
Brentford, Brighton over 1.5.
West Ham, Bournemouth.
West Ham
Bournemouth for draw.
West Ham win.
Forest, Liverpool. Forest
first leg Liverpool. First leg not Forest beat Liverpool.
Almost 3.
And they are going to Forest.
Liverpool win.
Liverpool.
Masaki Shondai.
Yes, there's Victor.
Liverpool beat maybe because of their recent performance.
I'm not sure. Sunderland are hosting Fulham.
Double chance.
Sunderland Fulham. Sunderland crew.
Yeah.
Double chance Sunderland.
Palace, Wolves.
Palace will win.
Wolves for gaining momentum but over
And
1.5.
There's Everton against Manchester United.
First leg,
Double chance Everton.
Yeah, remember that game.
double chance Everton.
Idrissa Gana Gueye and his brother. Okay, let's go to La Liga. Atletico are playing Espanyol. Atletico, they are out of the race. So I want to talk about
Espanyol. Double chance Atletico Madrid. But I feel
Atletico away.
I heard Espanyol be cause upset or this encounter.
Espanyol double chance.
Yeah.
Okay. Madrid or Osasuna at home.
Madrid was Osasuna at home.
Osasuna are playing home.
Osasuna home.
They are traveling, Charlie.
Double chance for
Madrid.
Double chance.
The umbo draw.
Double chance for Madrid.
Umbo draw my. And then
Maniaji, you can show for.
Shino. And then there is Barcelona hosting Levante at home.
Barcelona win.
Charlie, Pedri and Rashford are coming back. You know, Rafinha, all them.
Yeah, none one that we could lose against Atletico Madrid. Remember, bomb match. And then
Girona.
And we say, as I could boost in our rank of a do.
But guys, don't forget next month Gavi will start.
Gavi started training with the team.
Gavi the other day info. I see. I see. Obo bese pra.
Charles, we'll end it
Everybody
here.
be an athlete.
Reality.
We'll end it here. Thanks for watching.
Bob will be player.
Budia.
I can't be the one.
Me can't cry. No, can't
Okay.
me can't
Thanks
cry.
for
Me
watching
tell
the
about
show.
so surprise. It was a